As we step into 2025, uncertainty looms large. From the resurgence of pandemics to the growing risk of cyber threats, the challenges we face are evolving. Yet, one thing remains the same: the need to be prepared. Whether you're concerned about widespread disasters like economic instability or something more personal, like a house fire, the key to resilience is knowing what to expect and how to prepare. Today, we'll dive into the top disasters likely to affect us this year, and more importantly, how you can stay ahead of the curve. Welcome to Prepper's Paradigm, your channel dedicated to practical prepping and disaster preparedness. For those new here, I use a computer-generated voice because my own is hard to understand due to an injury, but the information is always clear and actionable. In this video, we'll analyze the top disasters to prepare for in 2025. Each one will be assessed for its likelihood and potential impact, so you'll know exactly where to focus your efforts. While this analysis focuses primarily on risks faced in the United States, many of the insights and preparation strategies will apply globally. Whether you're navigating challenges close to home or keeping an eye on global developments, these scenarios are worth your attention. We're talking about widespread disasters, things like pandemics, economic instability, and natural disasters. But don't forget that it's also important to be ready for everyday emergencies, like house fires. Prepping isn't about fear, it's about confidence. By understanding the risks ahead, you can take practical steps to protect yourself and your loved ones, no matter what challenges come your way. Before diving into the specific disasters, it's important to understand how we've assessed the risks for 2025. This isn't just speculation, it's based on a careful review of multiple sources and trends. First, we analyzed historical patterns to identify recurring disasters and how often they occur. Many events follow predictable cycles, such as hurricanes, economic downturns, and even pandemics, which can give us valuable insight into future risks. Next, we looked at recent developments and ongoing global trends. News reports, geopolitical events, and environmental changes all provide clues about potential challenges on the horizon. For instance, tensions between major nations or shifts in weather patterns often serve as early warnings of larger issues to come. We also considered expert reports from trusted sources, including scientists, economists, and security analysts. These professionals study specific areas in depth and provide critical information about emerging threats, from the likelihood of cyber attacks to the potential for food shortages. Finally, we factored in local and global conditions. While our analysis is primarily focused on risks affecting preppers in the United States, the interconnected nature of today's world means that many of these scenarios are globally relevant. Whether you're in the US or elsewhere, understanding these risks can help you prepare for challenges that might cross borders. By combining these sources of information, we've built a picture of the top disasters that are most likely to occur in 2025 and evaluated the potential impact each one could have. Now that you know the approach we've taken, let's dive into the first disaster to prepare for this year. As we enter 2025, the threat of a new pandemic remains significant. Recent developments, such as the spread of bird flu, have heightened concerns about the emergence of new infectious diseases that could disrupt global health and stability. Pandemic refers to the emergence of infectious diseases with the potential to spread globally, causing widespread illness and societal disruption, as we saw recently with COVID-19. This could include both known pathogens, like influenza viruses, and novel ones that can cross species barriers. The likelihood of a pandemic is considered medium to high. Factors contributing to this assessment include increased human-animal interactions, global travel, and environmental changes that facilitate the spillover of viruses from animals to humans. There are a number of recent developments that suggest an increased risk of a pandemic. Recent mutations in the H5N1 bird flu virus have raised concerns about its potential to infect humans more easily. In December 2024, a severe human case was reported in Louisiana, marking the first such case in the U.S. The patient likely contracted the virus through contact with infected birds. While human-to-human transmission has not been observed, the virus's ability to infect humans poses a significant risk. In addition to bird flu spreading, China has recently reported a surge in cases of human metapneumovirus, or HMPV, a respiratory virus causing symptoms similar to the common cold and COVID-19. The outbreak has predominantly affected children, leading to increased hospitalizations. Currently, there is no vaccine for HMPV, and treatment focuses on symptom management. A new pandemic could be far more severe than COVID-19, with a higher fatality rate. It could also have other far-reaching effects, including overwhelmed healthcare facilities, leading to shortages of medical supplies and personnel, economic downturns due to workforce illness, decreased productivity, and increased healthcare expenditures, disruption of daily life, including travel restrictions, school closures, and limitations on public gatherings. Let's take a look at some simple steps that you can take now to increase your preparedness for a potential pandemic. Maintain a stockpile of essential hygiene and medical supplies, including masks, hand sanitizers, and over-the-counter medications. Keep abreast of updates from reliable health organizations and local authorities to respond promptly to emerging threats. Continue practicing good hygiene, such as regular hand washing and avoiding close contact with sick individuals. Develop plans for remote work or schooling and establish communication strategies with family members in case of lockdowns or quarantines. By staying informed and prepared, you can mitigate the impact of a potential pandemic on your health and daily life. Economic instability remains a pressing concern as we move through 2025. With rising inflation, geopolitical tensions, and lingering effects of global disruptions, the economy is showing clear signs of vulnerability. While it's impossible to predict exactly how events will unfold, there are several key indicators that suggest preppers should take this threat seriously. Economic instability refers to periods of financial uncertainty marked by rising inflation, unemployment, or even a full-blown recession. These disruptions often stem from a combination of factors, including international conflicts, disruptions to supply chains, or sudden changes in government policies. The likelihood of economic instability in 2025 is high. Over the past year, inflation has remained a challenge in many countries, and geopolitical events, like sanctions on major economies or disruptions in energy supplies, continue to strain global markets. Experts have also warned of potential financial crises linked to housing bubbles or corporate debt defaults in several regions. The effects of economic instability are wide-ranging and often hit individuals and families hardest. Prices for essential goods, such as food, fuel, and utilities, can skyrocket, making it difficult to maintain a stable household budget. Economic downturns often result in jobs losses or reduced income, leaving families struggling to meet their financial obligations. Inflation can erode the value of savings, while market volatility may reduce the returns on investments like retirement funds. There are several steps that you can take to prepare for the possibility of an economic downturn. Consider building multiple income streams to reduce reliance on a single source of earnings. This could include freelance work, side hustles, or even starting a small business. Build a reserve of non-perishable foods, hygiene products, and other necessities while prices remain stable. This will help you ride out periods of high inflation or supply chain disruptions. Try to reduce or eliminate high-interest debt to lower your financial risk during an economic downturn. Begin to build savings, aiming to eventually have the equivalent to 3 to 6 months of living expenses and easy-to-access funds to cover unexpected job losses or emergencies. Learn skills or acquire items that could be useful in a bartering situation, should traditional currency lose its value in the short term. Economic challenges can feel overwhelming, but by planning ahead and making thoughtful financial decisions, you can reduce the impact on your household and maintain your resilience. Natural disasters remain an ever-present threat, and 2025 is no exception. With climate patterns shifting and extreme weather events becoming more frequent, preppers need to prioritize readiness for these unpredictable but inevitable events. Natural disasters include hurricanes, wildfires, earthquakes, floods, and other catastrophic events caused by natural phenomena. These disasters can strike without warning, causing widespread destruction, displacement, and loss of life. The likelihood of natural disasters in 2025 is high. Meteorologists predict another active hurricane season, while drought conditions in some regions increase the risk of wildfires. Additionally, areas along fault lines remain vulnerable to earthquakes. The effects of natural disasters can vary depending on the type and location, but they often include infrastructure damage, roads, bridges, power lines, and buildings may be destroyed, isolating affected areas. Displacement. Entire communities may be forced to evacuate, with many facing prolonged periods away from their homes. Supply chain interruptions. Access to food, water, and medical supplies can be severely limited in disaster-stricken areas. Economic losses. The cost of rebuilding homes and infrastructure can place a significant financial burden on families and communities. Consider the following to improve your preparedness for potential natural disasters in 2025. Identify the natural disasters most likely to affect your area. For example, coastal residents in the southeastern U.S. should prepare for hurricanes, while those in the West could focus on wildfire and earthquake readiness. Build a comprehensive emergency kit that includes food, water, first aid supplies, flashlights, and batteries. Ensure you have enough to last at least 72 hours, if not longer. Create a clear plan for evacuating your home, including routes, meeting points, and a list of items to grab in a hurry. Practice it with your family to ensure everyone knows what to do. Prepare your home, including securing loose items outdoors. Install storm shutters and reinforce doors and windows to protect against high winds and debris. Monitor weather alerts and stay connected to reliable sources of information. Local authorities often provide guidance specific to your region. Being prepared for natural disasters is about more than just surviving the immediate event. It's about ensuring you can recover and rebuild in the aftermath. Geopolitical tensions continue to escalate, making conflict between nations a key concern for 2025. Whether through military action, economic sanctions, or resource disputes, these tensions can have widespread repercussions that affect individuals far from the conflict zones. Geopolitical tensions involve strained relationships between nations, often leading to economic warfare, territorial disputes, or outright military conflicts. These tensions can disrupt global supply chains, destabilize regions, and increase the risk of large-scale disruptions, including resource shortages and forced migrations. The likelihood of geopolitical conflict impacting daily life in 2025 is medium to high. Ongoing disputes in regions like Eastern Europe, the South China Sea, and the Middle East have the potential to escalate. Economic sanctions and trade wars are also becoming more frequent, leading to ripple effects across global markets. Conflict can have a wide impact across large areas of the world. For example, conflicts can disrupt the production and distribution of critical resources like energy, food, and raw materials. Sanctions and trade restrictions often lead to inflation and higher costs for everyday goods, even in countries not directly involved in the conflict. Refugee crises, political unrest, and military mobilizations create widespread uncertainty, impacting travel, trade, and safety. Preparation for geopolitical tensions and conflict can include the following suggestions. Build a stockpile of essentials, focusing on items that could become scarce due to global supply chain disruptions, such as certain foods, fuel, and medical supplies. Stay informed about international developments through reliable news sources. Awareness of escalating tensions can give you time to adjust your plans. If fuel shortages occur, having alternative energy solutions like solar panels or wood-burning stoves can reduce your dependence on disrupted resources. Geopolitical conflicts can lead to protests or unrest at home. Plan for personal safety, including secure shelter and escape routes, if necessary. Economic fallout from international conflicts can lead to market instability. Protect your finances by diversifying assets and keeping some cash on hand in case of banking disruptions. The interconnected nature of today's world means that geopolitical conflicts can have far-reaching consequences, even for those not in the immediate vicinity. By planning for these risks now, you can reduce the impact of global instability on your daily life. Cyber threats are an ever-growing concern in 2025, with hackers and hostile nations targeting critical infrastructure, businesses, and individuals. As our reliance on technology increases, the risks associated with cyber attacks become more severe, making this a key area of focus for preppers. Cyber threats include malicious activities conducted through digital means, such as ransomware attacks, data breaches, and disruptions to critical systems like power grids, financial networks, and communication infrastructure. These attacks can originate from individuals, organized crime groups, or even nation-states. The likelihood of significant cyber attacks in 2025 is high. Over the past few years, there has been an increase in the frequency and sophistication of these attacks. Critical infrastructure including healthcare systems and utilities, has been repeatedly targeted, exposing vulnerabilities that could lead to widespread consequences. Cyber attacks might seem more likely to impact government departments or big businesses, but they could also have a significant impact on the population as a whole. Cyber attacks on energy grids could leave large regions without electricity for days or weeks. Hacks targeting banks or payment systems can result in frozen accounts, lost savings, or a breakdown in commerce. Attacks on internet service providers or communication networks can isolate entire communities. Manufacturing, transportation, and distribution systems are highly vulnerable to cyber attacks, potentially halting the flow of goods. To prepare for cyber attacks, consider your own digital security as well as being ready for the impacts of widespread attacks. Secure your data. Protect yourself with strong passwords, two-factor authentication, and up-to-date antivirus software. Regularly back up important files on an offline device or external hard drive. Learn about common cyber threats and how to recognize phishing attempts or other scams designed to exploit individuals during a crisis. Invest in off-grid power solutions, such as solar generators, to maintain access to electricity during prolonged outages. Equip yourself with GMRS radios or similar devices to stay connected with others if phone or internet services are disrupted. Keep some cash on hand in small denominations. During financial system outages, digital transactions may not be possible. Prepare for supply chain disruptions by building a reserve of food, water, and medical supplies that can sustain you for weeks or months if necessary. Cyber attacks are invisible but highly disruptive, making them one of the most challenging threats to anticipate. By taking steps now to protect your data, finances, and essential resources, you can minimize the impact of these events on your life. Access to reliable food and water supplies is a cornerstone of survival, yet these essentials face increasing risks in 2025. Climate change, geopolitical tensions, and disruptions in global supply chains are all contributing factors that preppers must take seriously. Food and water shortages occur when demand outpaces supply due to natural disasters, economic instability, or systemic disruptions. These shortages can lead to rising prices, reduced availability of essential goods, and in severe cases, famine or dehydration. The likelihood of food and water shortages varies regionally, but is considered medium to high on a global scale. Droughts, floods, and other extreme weather events continue to affect agricultural production, while geopolitical tensions risk disrupting trade routes. For example, disruptions in grain exports from conflict zones or sanctions could have ripple effects worldwide. The impact of food and water supply disruptions could be significant and widespread. Prices for staples such as grains, meats, and fresh produce may increase significantly, straining household budgets. Certain items may disappear from shelves, forcing families to go without or seek alternatives. Poor nutrition and dehydration can lead to long-term health problems, particularly for vulnerable populations like children and the elderly. Although the effect will be widespread, it is possible to prepare by considering the following. Build a food and water stockpile. Focus on long-lasting, shelf-stable foods like rice, beans, pasta, canned vegetables, and freeze-dried meals. Ensure you include a variety of items to maintain nutritional balance. Store at least 1 gallon of water per person per day for drinking and sanitation, with a minimum of 2 weeks of supply. Invest in water filtration systems, such as the Sawyer Mini, to make untreated water safe to drink. Begin growing your own food. Start a garden to grow vegetables and herbs. Even small-scale gardening can supplement your diet and provide a level of self-sufficiency. Learn food preservation techniques. Canning, dehydrating, and vacuum sealing foods can extend their shelf life and reduce waste. Always keep an eye on shortages in your area and adjust your purchasing habits to avoid panic buying or price spikes. Food and water shortages can escalate quickly, but with preparation, you can ensure your household has the resources it needs to weather these challenges. While we focused on the most significant threats, there are other disasters that, while less likely or impactful on a global scale, still deserve your attention. Here's a quick overview. Technological failures. As our reliance on technology grows, the risk of widespread outages, such as GPS disruptions or failures in AI systems, increases. These could impact everything from transportation to communications. Terrorism. Both domestic and international terrorism remain ongoing threats. While not as frequent, these events can cause significant localized damage and panic. Nuclear accidents. Events like the Chernobyl disaster remind us of the dangers posed by nuclear power plants. While safeguards have improved, human error or natural disasters could still lead to catastrophic failures. Public unrest. Protests and civil unrest tied to economic or political issues could disrupt daily life, particularly in urban areas. Space weather. Solar flares or geomagnetic storms could damage satellites, disrupt power grids, and interfere with communication systems. Each of these scenarios highlights the importance of maintaining a well-rounded preparedness strategy. While they may not dominate the headlines, their potential to disrupt lives shouldn't be underestimated. As we step into 2025, the challenges ahead may seem daunting, but preparedness is about taking control in uncertain times. By understanding the risks we've discussed, you can prioritize your efforts and build resilience for yourself and your family. Each of these disasters has its own unique challenges, but they share common themes: disruption, uncertainty, and the need for adaptability. The key takeaway is that prepping isn't about fear. It's about having the confidence to face whatever comes your way. Take a look at your current level of preparedness and identify gaps in your supplies, skills, or plans. Build a realistic timeline to address these gaps, focusing on one area at a time, whether it's food storage, financial resilience, or home security. Stay informed by keeping up with reliable news sources and trends in preparedness communities. We want to hear from you. What do you think is the biggest threat in 2025, and how are you preparing for it? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your insights might help others in their preparedness journey. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to Prepper's Paradigm. Your support helps us bring practical, no-nonsense advice to preppers everywhere. Preparedness is a journey, and every step you take now strengthens your ability to thrive in the face of adversity. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay prepared, and we'll see you in the next video.